Always keep your location off Snapchat. Oh my God. Because you don't want some weirdo just going, beep, beep, I'm outside your house. Come outside. Like, that's freaking weird. I don't want to deal with some weirdo at my house. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Jib Jab in the Queer Lab. As you can see, I am kind of dressed in my little cosplay. If you don't know who I am, I'm Louise from Bob's Burgers. So I figured I would dress up, we would read some spooky stories pertaining to dating and Let's Not Meet stories and celebrate the spooky season together. Our first story is from Let's Not Meet. Let's Not Meet, murderer from online dating site. Disclaimer. I am no longer active on OkCupid. This was 2015. I wasn't really actively looking, but would pop on OkCupid every few weeks to see if anything interesting was in my inbox. Being female, I had a very active inbox. Sorry guys. Noticed an email from an interesting, fairly local guy. Email was alright, asking about polyamory, which I don't mind talking about if the person is asking in a sincerely interested and respectful way. We got to chatting. I had zero romantic sexual interest, but thought this could be a friendship. After a few months of chatting, he found me on the Book of Faces. Asked if it was okay to send an ad request, and I agreed. We'd been chatting, getting along well, and he seemed like a nice person. Little weird, but that's okay because I'm a little weird myself. We continued to chat here and there for about 2 years, send birthday greetings, just casual friendship. He has asked several times to meet, to hang out, etc. I've considered it, but at that time, I was running my own business and working upwards of 70 hours a week, so meetup never occurred. But we kept in touch online. Late last year, a news story broke out about a man and his girlfriend, R-worded, and took their life of a young teenage daughter. I never connected the name until a friend contacted me and said, "Oh, I see you're friends with da-da-da-da-da. Did you see the news?" The news stories all use his full legal name, not his nickname. Think Richard versus Dick. Which is why I never connected the two. It was him. My then online friend of 2 years had beaten, R-worded, strangled and dismembered his girlfriend's teen daughter with the girlfriend's help. He's made several statements since then, stating that he's always had this R-word taking life fantasy, and that this child was very sexual, and that it wasn't fun taking her life as he apparently thought it would be. It still sends me chills down my spine. I dodged a bullet, big time. Be safe out there. You never know who is on the other side of the keyboard or phone call. And dude, let's not meet. So that was pretty crazy. I don't know if that story's true or not, but I mean, the likelihood of something like that happening is pretty likely. Running into people who are sick and sadistic is very likely to happen, especially on dating sites, because you never know what kind of people you're meeting on dating sites. As somebody who's been on dating sites quite frequently, I've met some real gems of people on those sites, so not exactly the best. We have a reply. My mom went on a couple of dates with some guy who was friends with one of her sisters, but she had decided before their third date she was no longer interested. He obviously didn't take it well, and he admitted somewhere in the middle of insulting her for being too old, she was 31, that he had actually been interested in her daughter, my older sister, and that he had planned to date my mom for 3 years until she was old enough for him. She was 12. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's some real sick and twisted people out there in the world, and you can never be too wary. I think the OP was smart for kind of living their... Oh, here's Mario. I think the OP was smart for kind of living their life and not making meeting this person a priority, because obviously this person wasn't a good person. If they could do that to someone that they are really close to and that they really know, imagine what they could do to somebody that they barely know or that they only know online. OP probably saved their life by not meeting with this person, because who knows what that person would have done meeting them when they've always had this R-word murder fantasy going on inside of their head. OP is very lucky that they never decided to meet this person. I couldn't imagine dating or like matching with somebody who was a future murderer. I think that's pretty crazy. I don't know how I would handle that situation if I was in that person's shoes, but I know I would be definitely creeped out, weirded out, and freaked out if I was in that situation. So good on OP for handling it the way that they did. With that being said, we are going to read our next story. Our next story comes from Let's Not Meet. Guy from Tinder drove 6 hours to see me without asking. This is not the scariest story, but it definitely creeped me the frick out. For background, I'm a 20-year-old female. I matched with a guy on Tinder a while back. His name was Nick and he seemed pretty cool, so I gave him my Snapchat. We talk a little, but it died out quickly. I didn't tell him the exact town I lived in, but the city about 10 minutes away because it's decent size and has a big population of people, and I figured he wouldn't be able to find me by just knowing that little bit of information. A few weeks ago, he started messaging me and we made small talk. Everything seemed normal for a while, up until New Year's Eve. The day before, he messaged me saying he was going to be in the area, the city I told him I was from, and asked if I wanted to meet for lunch. I told him possibly, and I would let him know. The next night, I had a New Year's Eve party with a small group of friends. I spent most of the day getting ready and was not looking at my phone. About 7:30, I finally looked at Snapchat and saw that Nick had not only messaged me, but also called me. Hey, I'm in insert name of city here. I responded telling him I was sorry. I just saw his message. He opened it within a couple minutes and totally freaked out. He said something along the lines of, just to let you know, I'm really not interested in someone who can't even answer the phone when I drove 6 hours to see her. I just looked at it in disbelief, and for a second, I thought he was joking. I responded him asking him what he was talking about, and that he didn't drive 6 hours just to see me. He said that we had plans, and why else would he have driven up here? I was confused because we never had plans. He told me that he was going to be in the area, which made me think that he was here for work or to visit a friend. It's not uncommon for people to travel here for work. I explained this to him and told him we did not have plans and I didn't ask him to drive all that way for me. He told me he sat around for 2 hours waiting for me and brought me flowers. Again, I was confused. We never planned a time or place to meet, and I never confirmed plans. You don't make plans just by telling someone you're going to be in the area. I apologized, but told him that, again, that we never had plans. He told me to make it up to him. I had to drive up and see him tomorrow. Yeah, F that. I remembered that I had my location shared on Snapchat, so he could easily have shown up at my house. I turned off my location, but kept him on Snapchat in case he tries to show up at my house. Luckily, I have not heard from him since. Nowadays, it's like really creepy how people can get like your location depending on like the apps, because like your apps can give out where you're at, your location, like Facebook and Snapchat. I think it's really important to check those apps regularly to make sure that your location isn't being shared, because if it is, make sure that you guys are turning that off, because you don't want weirdos and creeps to figure out where you are staying, especially on Snapchat. I know with me on Snapchat, I have a lot of random people on Snapchat. It's not all people that I know personally. It's not like my Facebook, where my Facebook is reserved for people that I personally know, but my Snapchat is kind of like whatever. So there's a lot of people on my Snapchat that I don't personally know or have met before. It's good to make sure that you have your location shut off for those kinds of apps. Like somebody says in the comments, girl, always keep your location off Snapchat. Oh my god. Totally not your fault he's such a creep, but the fact that people can literally see your direct location at all times is not safe. Exactly. Keep that ish turned off, because you don't want some weirdo just going beep beep, I'm outside your house, come outside. Like, that's freaking weird and creepy and scary, and nobody wants to deal with that. I know I don't want to deal with that. In fact, after this video, I am going to go on my Snapchat and double check that my location is not being shared, because now I'm like kind of creeped out and I'm like, is my location being shared on there? I do like this comment. He must be very, very alone, or something is shady about him. I wouldn't even consider driving 6 hours for a Tinder date, and definitely not to a woman I barely know. Which I gotta say is very true. Driving 6 hours to meet somebody for a Tinder date is insane. Like, I don't know who in their right mind would want to drive that far to meet somebody on Tinder. I mean, I've driven like an hour or like about 2 hours to go meet people for like a date, but 6 hours is like way too much. That would be like equivalent of me driving to like Northern California. I think I've only done that once, and that was for a concert, and I don't think that that's something that I would ever honestly do again, drive that far. So yeah, that's a big no for me. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoy your Halloween. I hope you enjoy your October. I will see you in the next video. Bye.